A lot of times we say things that we think are useful or helpful or logical in the moment, but can actually cause more harm or disruption to the relationship. If you are watching this video, I already know that you have a majorly good heart because you don't want to say anything harmful to your friends or your loved ones who are struggling with separation anxiety. I'm super proud of you for being here. You are amazing. If you are new here, hello. If not, welcome back. My name is Mallory Grimste. I am a mental health therapist and I work a lot with teenagers. So I know that teens struggling with separation anxiety is becoming more and more of a problem these days. And I know that you want to be part of the solution, which is why you're here in this video. So thankful that you're here, and I know that the teens in your life will be grateful and thankful for that as well. Now, I just want to back up and just remind you that if you find yourself saying any of these things that could be potentially harmful, that I want you to stop saying. This is not meant to say that you're a bad person. It is not meant to be shameful. This is just helpful information about some alternatives to express yourself in a way that's going to actually help the teenagers in your lives overcome their separation anxiety, or at least cope with it a little bit better so that they can control it and move on with their day. All right, so without further ado, here are some of the things that you should stop saying and what you should say instead when somebody is struggling with separation anxiety. Please stop saying,
"Just breathe."
Oh, that is so annoying because obviously if you were stressed out and anxious and you could breathe, you would be doing that, right? Oftentimes when we're having an anxiety response, our breathing can get a little distorted and it can feel unmanageable, which can actually cause us more stress and anxiety, especially when somebody is trying to tell you to do something that you're just not ready or capable of doing in that moment. Now, don't get me wrong, breathing is one of my favorite coping strategies. It's a quick win when you can do it and you are in control of your breathing. So instead of telling somebody to just breathe and making them feel worse about their current circumstances, try saying this instead.
"Hey, let's go get a glass of water for you. Come with me."
What is awesome about this is you are getting the person up and moving. Movement can actually help activate some of those other responses that happen in our body, so that if you're not so focused on the fact that you're having difficulty breathing or stressing out, so that is a really cool thing that you can do. Plus, drinking water has a ton of coping benefits, especially when it comes to stress and anxiety. I know I talk a lot about drinking water as one of my favorite coping strategies and coping skills, so I won't go too into it in this video, but just know that cooling down can be really helpful in these moments. Next up, please stop saying,
"I don't know what you're so upset about. It's really not that serious."
That is so invalidating. Like, obviously, if they were able to put it in the same perspective that you could, maybe they wouldn't be so anxious or upset about it, but maybe it is that serious. And the fact that you're telling them that it's not serious to them can actually cause them more stress and anxiety because now they feel like they have to really prove it to you, or now they're upset and angry that you just don't understand or you don't get it. I personally hate this. It like sparks up all sorts of rage inside of me when I hear this, when somebody says that to me, because if I'm taking the time and energy, just as you are taking the time and energy to voice my concern or opinion about it, it's because it's important to me. You know, I just don't talk for the sake of talking. I know, surprise, right? And I doubt that many of you do that as well. It takes a lot of energy and time and effort to say the things that we think, that we feel, that we experience. And so by taking that time and energy to share that with somebody and then have it right knocked down again when we're already stressing out, just feels horrible. It's just not good for our self-esteem. So instead, start saying,
"You know what? I don't understand that, but it seems really overwhelming. How can I help?"
I love this so much because you're still acknowledging that you might not understand and that you might have a different perspective. That's okay. You don't always have to agree. But by letting the other person know that you are understanding that this is serious for them is so incredibly validating, and that is connecting. And taking it that step further and asking them how you can help puts them back in the control seat of managing their anxiety and what they can do about it, which it kind of works a little bit with this next one that I'm going to talk about. So please stop saying this.
"Oh, please, it'll be fine. Nothing bad is going to happen to them."
First of all, you don't know that. The likelihood and probability of something bad happening in the context, you know, you might have a little bit more information about. But the thing is, and I say this all the time about statistics, statistics are lovely and wonderful for research, for news reports, but they're really, really good for that kind of stuff or trying to persuade or get funding for something. But when something happens to you or to somebody in your vicinity, who cares if it's a 1 in 4 chance? You were the 1 in 4, right? So telling somebody that nothing is going to happen when there's no way that you could know that might really kind of set you up, because heaven forbid they are the 1 in 4 or whatever the statistic is. Like, that just doesn't feel good. The truth is that bad things do happen each and every single day. And so by not acknowledging that, you're actually kind of living in like a fantasy world that can really make that anxiety that much worse. Anxiety is just letting you know that there's a reason to be cautious or concerned. So it's not saying that it's going to actually happen, but it's trying to give you information to prepare and plan for that. So instead, try saying,
what could you do if that bad thing did happen?
I love this so much because it's acknowledging that bad things do happen. And when you do, you can actually do some things to help prepare or safeguard around that. There's a reason why when we are home in our houses that we lock the door. Do we expect that somebody is just going to walk right in? Heck no. But locking that door lets the person outside know that, like, hey, you're not welcome unless I invite you in. And it might actually slow down or deter somebody from breaking in. Now, could somebody still break in? Yeah, but is that going to be so easy? We also wear our seatbelts in our cars. This is another thing that we do to keep ourselves safe. Does it totally save everybody in every situation? No, but it can up your chances and help you feel a little better and in control of the situation in ways that you are in control versus like fantasy, like, oh, nothing's going to happen. We take safeguards each and every day. And so when you remind the person what their options are, and what their capabilities are, this empowers them in a way that they can then control their separation anxiety in a better way. So if somebody is struggling with separation anxiety in terms of either going to school or staying in school, which I know is like a hot topic these days, one of the things that you can do is make a plan with the staff in the school for, okay, if you start feeling really overwhelmed or like that urge, like you need to go home or you need to be with this person, what is another way that you can either cope or control or manage that anxiety or check in a way that's not disruptive to your learning or other people's learning? So one of the things that I actually suggest to some of the schools that I work with when kids are dealing with this is having a scheduled time where they can go down to guidance and call or check in with their parent if they're worried about them. If it's not a parent or somebody like that, there's a lot of creative workarounds that you can do. You just got to ask to see what your options are. Whatever you do, please stop saying,
just don't think about it.
Again, hello. If they could stop thinking about it, they would. Telling somebody to stop doing something that they're already having difficulty stopping doing is just going to add more stress and anxiety and add fuel to the fire. It might not be that easy to turn off. So I don't know if any of y'all have seen the Broadway show Book of Mormon, but there's a whole song and dance in there about, you know, if you don't like a thought, you don't like a situation, just turn it off, like flip a light switch. And wouldn't that be lovely? It's hilarious because that's just not how it works, at least not for many things. Sometimes you can just switch gears and it's all good. But when it comes to separation anxiety, if it's that significant and that severe, it's not as easy as flipping a switch. So instead, try saying,
did I tell you about the time when I went on that trip and...
See where I did there? Started telling a story. So when you tell a story, it can either be about the situation or something else. It's going to help to distract the person, even if it's not particular to that situation. Telling a story can offer some distraction and some relief from those stressful thoughts. Another thing that you can try doing if you can't think of a story off the top of your head to distract them is to play some sort of thinking game, like trying to do the alphabet backwards, Z through A, or you could try counting backwards from 100 to 0 by 7s or 3s. That can be a little difficult. When that gets a little bit easier, you can switch it up with some other thinking games. But doing something distracting or like diverting their attention or even doing an activity with them while they're kind of waiting out that that intense anxiety can be really useful and helpful, and let them know that they're not alone. You are there with them. You get it, and it's awesome. Now, this one particularly hurts me as a therapist, so please, 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 please stop saying this to teens that are struggling with separation anxiety.
You are such a faker. Stop faking it.
Separation anxiety is very real. It is an actual clinical diagnosis in the DSM-5, which is that big manual that we use to diagnose different mental health conditions based on symptomology. Even if it's not a diagnosable condition, these symptoms that go along with separation anxiety are absolutely real. I tell people this all the time, like when they say, oh, that's psychosomatic, or you're creating that yourself. Psychosomatic symptoms are still real, whether they are created by some biological force or our thoughts. It's still painful, it's still uncomfortable, it's still real, it's still happening. So by saying that they're faking it makes it seem like they are creating this in a way that that they're like masterminding it. And if you have ever dealt with an anxiety episode like this, you know you are not trying to put yourself in that position. Now, there could be some what we call secondary gains or learned helplessness that comes from separation anxiety, and that's a whole other shenanigan that I'm not going to get into. But even approaching it from that way, not helpful or useful to the situation, because now you're getting into a power control battle that just like does not make sense. So instead, ask them,
have you told your therapist about that?
I love this because I am a mental health therapist, but it lets them know that it's okay to ask for support and help, and that sometimes your friends, your parents, your teachers are not trained professionals in that way. And even if they are a therapist in that role, they're not supposed to be doing therapy with you. The whole thing. Now, I am particular to group therapy for these situations because when teenagers are learning and talking with other teenagers and helping each other, it kind of validates the experience. There's something that happens when you can help somebody else in your same age group or in your same situation learn or grow from something that you've already learned from, and then taking in the information that they have as well. It's really, really cool to see. Highly recommend looking into that. If you happen to have a group therapist near you, look into it. Don't be so quick to say no. Trust me. All the kids in my groups are always like, I thought this was going to be different and I love it. And I'm like, I know. It's why I offer it. So maybe you already are talking to a therapist, or maybe you're not quite ready to talk to a therapist for a variety of reasons. Maybe you don't have the time, the financial supports, your parents' permission, whatever. If you are still wanting some strategies on how to control your separation anxiety, I highly recommend that you check out this video right over here. Thanks for watching.